देवाऊचु
देवाऊचु
देवाऊचु पूरा पूरा कल्पापये स्वकृतम् उदरीकृत्य विकृतम् पूरा कल्पापये स्वकृतम् उदरीकृत्य विकृतम् त्वम् एवाद्यस्तस्मिन् सलिला धीशयने त्वम् एवाद्यस्तस्मिन् सलिला उरगेन्द्राधिशयने पुमान् शेषे सिद्धैर्हृदि विमृशिताध्यात्मपदवी स एवाध्यक्ष्णोर्यपतिचरसि भृत्यान् अवसीनः देवाऊचु
पुराकल्पापये स्वकृतम् उदारकृत्य विकृतम् त्वम् एवाद्यस्तस्मिन् सलिला पुरगेन्द्रतिशयने मां शेषे सिद्धहृदि विंशताध्यात्मपदैः स एवाध्यक्ष्णो यपति चरसि भूतान् अवसिनो Wait, we find the meter for this. Just give 1 minute. Thank you for asking. कृष्ण भी समय कृष्ण भी कृष्ण कीर्तन कल्पाये सतितम् उदाकृत्य विक्रम एवाचस्तस्मिन् सलिलौरे शयने पुमान् शेषे सिद्धिर्हृदि Actually, there is one I forgot the meter is not coming. देवाऊचु पुरा कल्पपाये स्वपितम् उदरीकृत्य विक्रम
कल्पापये स्वकृतम् उदरीकृत्य विकृतम्
ब्रह्मेवादस्तस्मिन् सलिल उरगेन्द्र रात्रि त्वमेवाद्यस्तस्मिन् सलिला उरगेन्द्र पुमां शेषे सिद्धिरदि विस्मृते विमृताध्यात्म पदवी पुमां शेषे सिद्धिर्विस्मृताध्यात्म स एवाध्यात्मो यपति चरसि यस्याम् अवसीनः
Devaha, the demigods, Uchu said, Pura, formerly, Kalpa Apaye, at the devastation of the Kalpa, Swakritam, self-produced, Udari Kritya, having drawn within your abdomen. Vikritam, effect, Tvam, you, Eva, certainly, Adyaha, original, Tasmin, in that, Salile, water, Uraga Indra, on Sesha, Adhishayane, on the bed, Puman, personality, Seshe, taking rest, Siddhai, by the liberated souls like Sanaka, etc. Hridi, in the heart, Vimrishita, meditated on, Adhyatma Padavi, the path of philosophical speculation, Saha, he, Eva, certainly, Adya, now, Akshno, of both eyes, Yaha, who, Pathi, on the path, Charasi, you, you move, Bhrityan, servants, Avasi, protect, Naha, us. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki. The demigod said, Dear Lord, formerly when there was a devastation, you conserved all the different energies of material manifestation at that time. All the inhabitants of the higher planets represented by such liberated souls as Sanaka were meditating on you by philosophical speculation. You are therefore the original person, and you rest in the water of devastation on the bed of the Sesha snake. Now, today, you are visible to us, who are all your servants. Please give us your protection. Please give us protection. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The devastation indicated in this verse is the partial devastation of the low planets within the universe when Lord Brahma goes to sleep. The higher planetary systems, beginning with Maharloka, Janaloka, and Tapaloka, are not inundated at the time of this devastation. The Lord is the creator, as indicated in this verse, because the energies of creation are manifested through his body, and after annihilation, he conserves all the energy within his abdomen. Another significant point in this verse is that the demigod said, We are all your servants. Bhrityan, give us your protection. The demigods depend on the protection of Vishnu. They are not independent. Bhagavad Gita therefore condemns the worship of demigods because there is no need of it, and clearly states that only those who have lost their sense go asking favors of the demigods. Generally, if anyone has material desires to be fulfilled, he can ask Vishnu instead of going to the demigods. Those who worship demigods are not very intelligent. Besides that, the demigods say, "We are your eternal servants." So, those who are servants or devotees of the Lord are not very much concerned with fruitive activities, the performance of prescribed yajnas, or mental speculation. They simply serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead sincerely with love and faith, performing everything with that loving service. And the Lord gives such devotees direct protection. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, "Simply surrender unto me, and I will give you protection from all the reactions of sinful activities." This material world is so created that one has to act sinfully, knowingly or unknowingly, and unless his life is dedicated to Vishnu, he has to suffer all the reactions of sinful activities. But one who surrenders and dedicates his life for the service of the Lord has direct protection from the Lord. He has no fear of suffering from sinful activities, nor does he desire willingly or unwillingly to do anything which is sinful. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वमासुदेवी देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्. So this is a wonderful verse. First, I would like to take blessings of all the exalted devotees present, especially His Grace Yul Kishore Prabhu. So, again, reading the translation, the demigod said, "Dear Lord, formerly when there was a devastation, you conserved all the different energies of material manifestation. At that time, all the inhabitants of the higher planets, represented by such liberated souls as Sanaka, were meditating on you by philosophical speculation. You are therefore the original person, and you rest in the water of devastation on the bed of the Sesha snake. Now, today, you are visible to us, who are all your servants. Please give us protection." So, this is a very wonderful verse. Actually, His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj says that every devotee, even if he is not a pure devotee, he is performing some amount of pure devotional service. Maybe 1%, 2%, 50%, 60%. So just as for milk, even though milk, sometimes persons in order to dilute the milk may add a lot of water, but the fact that it is milk is because there is some percentage of pure milk in that. So in the same way, even for karma and gyan to be successful, our acharyas say there has to be some bhakti in it. Like you see even persons who don't quote unquote follow spirituality, at the time of exam or the time of difficulty, they come and pray, or they may pray at home to God. So, in the same way, although it is true that all the demigods all may not always practice the highest platform of pure devotional service, but ultimately they are taking shelter of the Lord. Because Yadyat Vibhuti Mat Sattvam. that uh, any splendorous or any wonderful activities in this world, whether it's wealth, whether it's strength, whether it's fame, whether it's beauty, whether it's knowledge or enunciation, all these six aspects, that's what comprises anything and everything in this world, from the highest to the lowest planets. So Krishna is the source of all these six qualities, and of course Krishna is the supreme Lord because he has all these qualities in full, and nobody is equal to him and nobody is greater than him. So they are praying to the Lord to give them protection. This is the most important uh, quality of a devotee, that a devotee always seeks protection from the Lord, seeks the protection of the Lord, seeks the Lord's mercy, so that he may not be a cause of disturbance to the Lord. He may not be a cause of disturbance to the Lord, and he can always be an instrument um, of the Lord's desire, and better to say the desire of the pure devotee, the desire of the pure servants of the Lord. So you see in the Krishna book, whenever Krishna performs the pastimes, always many times you see the demigods are actually worshipping the Lord, because ultimately even the demigods may not be directly engaged in Lord Krishna's service, but the demigods always want to be a part of Krishna's plan. Just like when Krishna wanted to take birth in this, wanted to appear in this world, um, all the demigods also were asked to take birth in the Yadu family. In the Krishna book, it is being mentioned. So, the most important aspect of any Bhagavatam verse or any Bhagavatam class is to understand what Krishna wants, or that's a very high thing, but what Bhagavatam is saying and what Srila Prabhupada wants, and to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire. Just like we pray, Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. Srila Rupa Goswami is the father of this Krishna consciousness movement, because Srila Rupa Goswami, he fulfilled the innermost desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should pray to Srila Rupa Goswami that may we fulfill his innermost desire, or may we fulfill the innermost desire of Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. So when the devastation happens, as Srila Prabhupada explains, because it's not full devastation, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, these planets are still present, and there are great sages actually who are within those planets, who execute great tapasya. And they actually, at that time, they meditate on the Lord. So, these great sages, they have many amazing qualities. Many of them are, they have many mystic powers also. And many of those sages also came down to hear Srimad Bhagavatam when Sri Sukadeva Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. So Janaloka, Maharloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, these are the higher planetary systems. And in these systems, the sages execute tapasya. So when there is not full devastation, they're meditating on the Lord. So Prabhupada is saying that how the Lord is actually the creator. Bhagavad Gita very systematically explains how Krishna created this system. This material world comprises of mainly the ingredients of material nature, the five earth, water, fire, air, and ether, these five elements, and three modes of material nature. And of course, there's subtle elements also like mind, intelligence, false ego. So the Lord created all these elements, and he actually uh, through Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and himself in the form of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu, actually manifest this material world so that the conditioned souls who want to enjoy independent of the Lord can try. So these energies that Prabhupada is speaking about, they are very important. Parasha Shakti Vividheva Shruyate. Krishna has many different energies, even in this world, which work on the living entities. And of course, as Prabhupada explains, there are two main energies. There is the internal energy and the external energy. The internal energy causes the living entities to remember and to serve Krishna, and the external energy causes the living entities to forget Krishna. And then Prabhupada says that how the demigods are saying that we are all your servants. So ultimately, the external energy of the Lord, which facilitates the living entities to be independent, to function independently of the Lord, does not actually allow the living entities to be peaceful. For one to be peaceful, if one wants peace, Prabhupada says in this lecture that one should recognize three things. The Lord is first of all, the Lord is the proprietor because Lord created this universe. So Lord is the ultimate proprietor. Second is the Lord is the dearmost friend. Suhridam Sarva Bhutana. And the last is that the Lord is the only enjoyer. So if one remembers these three things, then one can be peaceful. So at every step, in some way or the other, one is always dependent on uh, Krishna's protection. Actually, at no point is anyone independent, but those who surrender unto Krishna and they actively, proactively, they seek shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, they get the intelligence. So, if one does not take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, and specifically Krishna's devotee, because to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, one has to approach Krishna's devotee. So, unless one takes shelter at the lotus feet of the devotees, one's mind will be bewildered. So, Prabhupada here is condemning the idea of asking favors from the demigods. So, Krishna has arranged this system of having the demigods and for them to fulfill material desires so that those who want to enjoy independent of him can get some facility. But these demigods or these devatas, ultimately, first of all, they are getting this empowerment from the Supreme Lord. And secondly, these favors, neither they permanent nor do they satisfy the soul. So it doesn't really solve any purpose. Just like, for example, if someone is very thirsty or very hungry and they go and beg food from someone who cannot really give, who doesn't really have capacity to give, and they give some one chapati or half a chapati or little grain of rice, it doesn't really quench the thirst nor fulfill the hunger, satisfy the hunger. So actually, no one except Lord and Lord's pure devotees have the potency, have the capability to actually satisfy the soul. So then Prabhupada is speaking the purport about fruitive activities. So fruitive activities are activities performed in the three modes of material nature for um, for fruits, either to get some material sense gratification, to get some material sense gratification in this world, or just to get some knowledge, to get some siddhi. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there is karma yoga, jnana yoga, and ashtanga yoga. So karma yoga, mm, the fruit of karma is sense gratification. Jnana is mental speculation, and Ashtanga is siddhis, different mystic siddhis. So all these three are actually not at all related to the soul. The soul is not touched, the soul is not affected by any of these things. But only those who are devotees of the Lord, who simply serve the Supreme Lord, Prabhupada says, sincerely with love and faith, performing everything with loving service, only they are actually satisfied. They are granted direct protection from the Lord. So ultimately, this is very, very wonderful that ultimately, even the demigods, who can be more powerful than the demigods? Who can be more opulent than the demigods? Who can be more intelligent than the demigods? Lord Brahma, his body is made purely of intelligence. And similarly, so many demigods have so many powers, so many mystic siddhis, far beyond our imagination in this world. We cannot even imagine to be so powerful or to have so many siddhis. So even the demigods, they actually ultimately they say that they want to surrender and they want protection. If you want protection, you have to surrender. There is no other way. His Holiness Haladar Maharaj says that what does it mean to actually surrender? He says three things. The first thing is he says that one should depend. So if you want to surrender to Krishna, you should depend on Krishna, or surrender to a devotee, surrender to the spiritual master or the Shiksha Guru, the authority. One has to depend. Means one should not be independent. Second is one should render loving service, not official service. Official service means service just uh, according to the schedule or according to one's convenience, but loving service, service which is meant to please the object of one's service. Like the best example of loving service is of course Srimati Radharani and the gopis, that they have no limit, they have no condition of uh, how and when to render service, but they're constantly rendering service 24 hours a day eternally. And third thing Maharaj says that one should not ask for anything. One should not ask for anything in return, but one should simply render service simply to please Krishna without uh, not even trying to relate anything which happens in one's life, to the service. Like for example, if anything, if one loses a job or if one whatever happens, one should not relate Lord service to that. Oh, I did service to Lord and this happened. Because Lord service, the purpose of rendering service to the Lord is to come to the spiritual platform. And our material life is on material platform. So we cannot relate material to spiritual. How is it compatible? It's not compatible. So one should not ask for anything in return except to render more and more and more loving service. That is the distinct um, nature of this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, that we don't ask for anything from Krishna. We only ask to serve Krishna. We only ask for service to Krishna, undeviated, ahetuki apratihata. That kind of devotional service which has no cause, which has no motivation, and apratihatas. Sorry, without cause and without interruption. Prabhupada mentions in one lecture that how that Krishna is so inconceivable. Like many persons are very much interested in reading Vedas. I will read Vedas. I will. But then Lord Brahma, it took him 3 times. He had Vedas, the whole Vedas 3 times. And after reading the Veda 3 times, he could fathom that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if it is so difficult for Lord Brahma, then what to speak of us? So Prabhupada says that don't need to try to understand Krishna.
देवो त्यजा निद्रं तथा उत्तिष्ठ जाह्नवेश्वर योग निद्रं त्यजा प्रभो नाम्नो
Yeah. So one should not try to understand Krishna, but rather one should try to develop one's loving attitude towards Krishna. One's loving service for Krishna. Prabhupada says, try to increase your love for Krishna more and more and more, and then your life will become perfect. So one may think, oh, loving Krishna is so high, prema is such a high stage. But no, according to whatever anatha nivritti, according to whatever anatha nivritti we have corresponding nishta, corresponding ruchi, corresponding uh, asakti, bhava, and prema. So little, very little, very maybe very little, but some prema is there. So more and more we increase our loving attitude and our desire to please Krishna, Krishna correspondingly fills our heart also with more and more love for him. So that is the only remedy to anartha, to the unwanted things in the heart. Anartho pasamam sakshat bhakti yogam adokshade. Lokasya janato vidvams chakre satvata samhita. So the only remedy to all anarthas is actually to practice bhakti yoga. And bhakti yoga is the linking process which links the conditioned soul to the Supreme Lord through loving devotion. So there are many examples of this, but before proceeding to that discussion, first we have to study the lives of those who actually surrender to the Lord. What is surrender and how is surrender practiced? In what condition does surrender manifest? So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day was just a few days ago. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said the first quality of a Vaishnava is simplicity. One should be very simple, as simple as a child. Saraswati Thakur used to say. So, this childlike simplicity, especially in relation to the Lord and the Lord's devotees, is very, very important. Which means that in order to take shelter, in order to surrender, one has to recognize, and I have to recognize my fallen condition, and I have to recognize how great the Lord and the Lord's devotees are. How wonderful it is that we are living in the association of devotees who are so serious. That's why it's very important to associate with devotees who are very serious. Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes in the purport that those who don't behave according to the Vaishnav standard, we should not associate with such people. So we should associate with people who manifest pure devotional endeavor. So we have to associate, when we associate with devotees who are fully dedicated to the Lord at every step in their day, in their life, their only business is to serve Krishna and nothing else. When we associate with such persons who are fully dedicated, who have no vacation, who have no break, such persons, when we associate, then naturally we see they have so many wonderful qualities. Actually, this is surrender. Ahaituki apratihata, which means a devotee, such a devotee who is unflinchingly devoted to the Lord, who has nothing else in his schedule except to serve the Lord. He may do some occupational duty for the sake of maintaining his family only, but nothing otherwise. He has no interest. He has nothing to gain from his occupational duty. But simply to maintain the body and soul together, he is performing his occupational duty. But his mind is always at the lotus feet of the Lord. So my spiritual mother says that is a grihastha. Grihastha means someone who whose mind is always at the lotus feet of Krishna, but who may be engaged in certain occupational duties for the time being. Srila Prabhupada actually mentions that his father, although his father was doing business, Prabhupada says, my father's real business was puja. His real business was worshipping Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada said, my father would come home very late from work, say about 8 or 9 o'clock, and he would be worshipping Radha Govinda. And Prabhupada says, me and my sister, we would wake up, we would hear the ringing of the bell, ding, ding, ding. So Prabhupada said that how his father was so absorbed. See, this is the impression that when persons who are fully dedicated to the Lord, they have the power to create this impression in the heart of persons. And that is the real preaching. If you can act when we cannot act, but if someone has that genuine devotion, that genuine dedication to the Lord, whether someone is there or not, whether someone cares or not, such a person has the power to create such an impression within the heart of persons in general, so that their heart can melt and their heart can transform uh, and become dedicated to the lotus feet of Krishna. Like, I mean, Krishna himself has many extraordinary qualities. But you see, like for example, Haridas Thakur. And better example is, I mean, more recent example is Bhaktan Saraswati Thakur. Srila Bhaktan Saraswati Thakur, he chanted 192 rounds for 10 years every day, 365 days of the year, without any break. So because he did that austerity, he did that, of course, he's a pure devotee, he's an eternal associate of Srimati Radharani. But because he did that incredible austerity, that incredible sadhana, now it is so inspirational for all of us. And when he did that, he was not with so many followers. He was not sitting on a Vyasasan. He was sitting in a thatched hut. He was chanting, and he didn't even waste his time to repair. Sometimes when it would rain, water would seep through the hut in Mayapur, and he would not even waste time repairing the roof, but he would just take an umbrella and he would continue chanting. So because of that incredible austerity, incredible sadhana to the lotus feet of the holy name, now that purity is actually transforming the heart of so many people today in Krishna consciousness. And the same way our Srila Prabhupada also. Like I mentioned that example, that we speak about it now, that not that Srila Prabhupada says that I talk directly with my Guru Maharaj. I get instruction directly from my Guru Maharaj. And, and this is not just I mean, yes, Prabhupada is an eternal associate of the Lord, but Prabhupada manifested, demonstrated that dedication to the instruction of Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur again and again and again when nobody was there, nobody was watching. Prabhupada made so many sacrifices. Made so many endeavors. Prabhupada started a League of Devotees. Prabhupada himself wrote, distributed back to Goddess magazine when nobody was there to support, nobody was there to recognize. Hmm. One time Prabhupada was distributing, Prabhupada fainted. So Prabhupada went through all these things. And even after Prabhupada coming to America, Srila Prabhupada, initially, Prabhupada faced so much opposition, Prabhupada faced so much difficulty. And nobody was recognizing Prabhupada. Many days Prabhupada went hungry, many days Prabhupada could not sleep at night. So at every step, Srila Prabhupada risked his life practically to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. And that's why you see now a person, if you suppose you want to you want persons to know about your guru, you can tell them 15, 20, 100, 200, maybe 1,000 people. You can distribute. But you see that now, since Prabhupada established ISKCON, there are, you can say, millions of people every day worshipping Saraswati Thakur. Millions of people know about Bhaktan Saraswati Thakur, his extraordinary activities, and they also know about Prabhupada's incredible dedication to Saraswati Thakur's order. So, this is the power of a pure disciple. The heart of a pure disciple is ruled over by the Guru. And therefore, the Guru has the capability, a pure disciple has the capability to spread the mood of his Guru, the glory of his Guru all over the universe. So that is the power of pure devotional dedication that has the power to transform others' hearts. That's what Srila Prabhupada did, and Prabhupada impressed that same devotion, that same dedication on his followers, on his disciples, even without forcing them, even without initially Prabhupada. It's like incredible to imagine that persons came to Srila Prabhupada and asked Prabhupada that do we have to follow anything? Do we have to follow any regulative principles? And Prabhupada, when he spoke the regulative principles, it was like bombs falling on their head, but they had so much love for Prabhupada, so they just accepted. It's impossible to imagine. And this is just the gross thing, but they with the gross thing, they completely throw out the subtle things also. No subtle things. If you see in Prabhupada's time, they had no separate um, duty except to serve Srila Prabhupada. Nobody, either in the temple or outside the temple, they were fully dedicated, 100% dedicated to serving Srila Prabhupada. So this is the extraordinary effect of pure dedication, 100% dedication. So bhakti starts with dedication to Guru and the previous acharyas, and that's why the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kari Swaparshad Shivadham Shava Avatari अत्यंत दुर्लभ प्रेम कोरी परिधान शिखाए शरणागति तेरा प्राण. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning this is the first song Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing about Sharanagati. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that Lord Chaitanya came, just like we were singing just now, that Lord Chaitanya came with all of his associates in order to bestow his mercy upon them, Jive Doya Kori. He came with his associates and taught this process of Sharanagati. And by surrendering completely, one will attain love of God. So this surrender is so sweet, is so wonderful, is so amazing. And a surrender is a very intimate, is a very private affair between the Lord and the Lord's devotee, dear devotee. But when the devotee renders service to the Lord, by the Lord's inconceivable arrangement, the whole world gets a taste of this surrender, gets a taste of this intimate mellow between the Lord and the Lord's intimate associate. Actually, this material world is sustained by that mellow, is sustained by that rasa. Because any rasa that people are enjoying in this world on the material platform, without a spiritual basis, it cannot be, it cannot sustain. Purity is the force, purity is the essence. Without purity, you cannot enjoy anything. Like even you see in this world, for people to enjoy um, even performing sinful activities, before the sinful activity and after the sinful activity, there has to be some purity, there has to be some. Like you see when see materialistic people, how they dress so neatly, so cleanly, because without purity, nothing can sustain. So therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and Srila Prabhupada force both stress this point of purity, that cultivate purity. um, do anything and everything in order to cultivate this purity. And purity means to surrender. And dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So only when we surrender to the dharma, to the occupation, and what type of occupation, that's also very important. What is the quality? धर्मस्वांस्थिता पुंसा विश्वक्सेन कथाचे नोत्पादेत यदिरतिम shrama eva hi kevalam. Only that kind of dharma that sprouts, that ignites, that inspires um, rati, attachment to the Lord, is real dharma. Otherwise, it's shrama eva hi kevalam. It is completely useless endeavor. So that kind of dharma, that kind of endeavor has to be undertaken, that kind of surrender to the Lord in pure devotion. Bhagavad Gita speaks about that, what is pure devotion and what is the effect of pure devotion. Pure devotion or pure devotional endeavor is Tesham Satadyuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadhami Buddh Yogam Yenama Upayatiti. So the effect of pure devotional endeavor is the um, consequence or the fruit of pure devotional endeavor means that Dadami Bhuti Yogam Tam. Krishna gives us the intelligence by which we can come back to Him, by which we can come to the spiritual platform. So that's why actually I would like to end with this pastime. This is amazing pastime. This is a book distribution story just to glorify Srila Prabhupada. So actually, there was one lady, one Mataji. This was shared on the Vaishnav Sangha group, or Shamanakshuru shared, Yogesh Shamanakshuru shared to me quite some time ago. So one Mataji actually, she was a very, very wonderful book distributor. So she was distributing books, and what happened at some point, I think she had so many problems in her life, but they all went away. And she said that all these problems went away just by the effect of book distribution. So one day, what happened? She ended up in Vrindavan after so many experiences in her life, so many difficult experiences. She finally ended up in Vrindavan. And Vrindavan, she met one person. And that person said that I will give you some secret mantra so that some secret sadhana, so you can come very close to Srimati Radharani. So for whatever reason, somehow she had stopped distributing books. And then she had a dream of Prabhupada. And the dream of Srila Prabhupada walked with her, took her to the bank of Radhakund. They went to the center of Radhakund, like they went inside the water and center of Radhakund. And there were so many conditioned souls. Actually, they were wailing, they were crying. And Srila Prabhupada was personally distributing his books, giving his books. And when every conditioned soul actually got that book, they stopped crying, they stopped wailing. And another extraordinary thing happened, that any person who got that book in that dream, they got a spiritual body and they went back to Godhead. So Prabhupada told that Mataji, that you distribute my books until the last day of your life. So, this is the power of our process. That process is very, very powerful. And our spiritual master, they're confirming by their practical endeavor, by their practical consciousness, how they're manifesting pure devotional consciousness, how effective this process is. So, since anyway, this is, book distribution month, so I just wanted to share this pastime. And this is the power of our parampara. Our parampara is very, very powerful, and our parampara has been built on the platform of purity, purity of purpose, purity of consciousness, and ultimately, all our acharyas have that infinite, that pure constitutional love for Krishna. So, this path of Krishna consciousness is very, very sublime. And if one simply follows the Shastra, follows the instructions in the proper mood, following the mood, that's why one time as well as Ramath Maharaj said, in order to understand Prabhupada's instructions, one has to understand Prabhupada's life, one has to understand Prabhupada's mood. That's why it's very important to hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures, because in the lecture, Prabhupada gives stress to certain things to make it very important, to make us understand it is very, very important. So it's a very wonderful process. It's a very hopeful process. So yeah, this is an amazing process, and at every step there is spiritual advancement. So we are so fortunate. We are so fortunate. The last few days I've just been meditating on Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. That what an incredible personality. What an incredible personality that Krishna sent to show us the height of pure devotion. Height of pure devotion. So when we, this is the most powerful process actually, when we actually pray to these acharyas, when we become attracted, because acharyas perform pastimes which are relatable to our daily life. So when we become attracted to their activities and the way they perform their activities, then what happens is that attraction will help to liberate us from the material bondage and give us the strength to actually pursue, to fight against the anarthas, to fight against this material energy. Material energy is extremely powerful. The only way we can fight against the material energy is by the mercy of the pure devotees. When we become attracted to pure devotee, when we become dedicated to pure devotee in our heart, then actually that is the only way we can fight, otherwise it's impossible. My spiritual master said those days when you join ISKCON, everyone would have to sign a paper that I will not do anything, I will not act in a way that will bring any kind of blemish or any kind of, will not taint the glory of Srila Prabhupada. So our spiritual masters, they are manifesting that. It's really incredible, really wonderful. And Srila Prabhupada himself has manifested that. So that is the real surrender. Mhm. Srila Prabhupada ki. Anyone has any question or comment? Or do you want?
You mentioned one point, you should not associate with the one whose behavior is not best kind of. Can you elaborate on how to?
Yeah, so the question is that we should not associate with people whose behavior is not according to Vaishnav standard. Yes, Prabhu, like it's a long topic, but yeah, basically we respect everyone, we honor everyone, but the degree of association differs based on uh, based on the effect of the association. So if someone is following the principles, then naturally by associating with them, we'll also want to follow the principle. So if we see that some association is not inspiring us, some association is not according to Prabhupada's books, that's why Prabhupada's books are the standard. So then we maintain a respectful distance, but we continue to respect that devotee because that person can become a pure devotee any moment. So we have great respect and we honor that person, but our association is corresponding. So we don't make offense, we don't judge also, but yeah, we are careful. Because then what happens is if more, we associate more than how much we should associate, we could end up getting in an argument, so many things. We have to speak things that person will not want to hear, all these things. So the best thing is maintain a respectable distance. A distance where you can have a loving relationship with the devotee, but you don't get affected and also you don't make offense. Like Gopal Bhatta Goswami, it's amazing. Gopal Bhatta Goswami says, even the non-devotees, they are serving Krishna. So that means that mm, he has the ability to see in that way. So he is maintaining a distance. Gopal Bhatta Goswami is not going and preaching to non-devotees, not associating non-devotees. But he has the ability to see, or he is his eternal associate. So he is manifesting that, yeah, he still sees them as, dear to Krishna. So please add. Roji? Sorry, I think Raghunath Bhatta. Sorry. Anyone online has any question or comment? Okay. Nobody has any question or comment. We will end here. Vanchakalpitarubhishya kripasinubhyo vacha, paritanam pavanebhyo